Hi, happy December. Long time no speak. I did have a November video, which you probably know if you're seeing this one. But I didn't talk in that one because life was a lot. I was on my way to Paris and then to like a few other places for my fall break trip, and I just didn't have time to record a voiceover. And I had gotten clean audio from my actual setup itself, so I figured why not do an ASMR type video, which I know that some of you liked, but I like to talk to you guys, and I try to do that whenever I can. So since we haven't chatted properly since October, since October, September even if you count when I actually filmed the video. Well, a lot has been happening since then, obviously. As it stands right now, it is the 10th of December, which means that I am going home in 5 days from my study abroad experience here in Cannes. And yeah, that's a little wild. I have always tried to be very kind of open about what's going on in my life, in my voiceovers, and in my content. But basically something has been going on that has kind of affected me a lot, but I can't really go into detail about that because it is more about somebody else's life and affects their privacy more than mine, so I can't really talk about that. But I will say that this past month has been really tough. I had something bad happen to one of my close friends, and it's kind of affects everybody here in my group. I've made some really, really wonderful friends, which was what I was hoping for when I decided to study abroad and go in this small group. But this thing that happened was really, really big in a number of ways, and one of those ways was that it kind of really strengthened some of the friendships I have here, and others just are over now. And that's weird because, my group and I were all here in this small space, and it's really weird to be here with some of these people that I just feel like I never even knew in the first place. But I also get to be here with some really wonderful people who I've gotten to see this amazing, super strong side of. And I wouldn't trade that. But at the same time, I am getting really, really excited to go home. It's been weird that I can go outside and hike up a hill in a tank top and still be sweating even though it's December. And I'm really, really looking forward to the snow when I get home. My mom sends me pictures of Cora, my little doggy, almost every day, and I save them all to my phone because I love her so much. And lately they've all been her in the snow, which is just so cute. And she hasn't really been in snow for, however long, since she was just a tiny little puppy and it was like almost spring. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for Christmas. I freaking love Christmas. In case, I don't know if I've talked about that before, but yeah, that's a fun fact. It just is such a good time of year, like, at least for me, for my experience. I know that there's some people where it's like a tough time of year because family stuff and whatever, but for me, it's always just been like a time of year when like all the edges on things are like softened and the world feels like a little like safer and warmer. I don't know, something about that good Christmas atmosphere and music and such, and all the treats. Love treats. So, what was I going to talk about? Oh yeah, so the past few months I went to Paris for the first time, which I loved because it has this like just beautiful, beautiful exterior with so much art, and the architecture of the city is just incredible. But it also has this history of like revolution and kind of overthrowing the like ruling class who just uses everybody for as much as they can take them for. And I love that kind of stuff. I think we need a little bit more of that in America right now. But yeah, so Paris really spoke to me. And then after Paris, I went to London for a few days with some friends, and that was wonderful too. And then after that, I went to Amsterdam for just one day. And then after that, I took a little solo trip into the French Alps, which I have never ever traveled alone in my life. I haven't done a lot of things alone. And it was really scary. I was like traveling alone on Halloween, and there was this one moment where it was the end of the line of the train, and I realized that I was in completely the wrong part of the mountains, and I had to figure out a way to get back to where I was supposed to be, which was really an adventure. And then for some reason the train like stopped in this tunnel, and it was really scary because there was only like one other person in my car, and they were like, "We don't know why the train has stopped, like please remain in your seats." And I was sitting there and I was like, this is how I'm gonna die. But I didn't, and it was a very scary Halloween, but I made it to my place, and I did it, all on my own. I didn't have anybody like telling me where to go or when to get places or helping me like carry my stuff around. It was all me. Which for me was a pretty cool experience because, like I've talked about, like I have some kind of leftover health issues from my back, and just kind of stress and stuff makes that worse. And I didn't know if I'd ever be in a place in my life where I could do this much independently. But doing this on my own was kind of me like figuring out that, yeah, I can. Which isn't to say that it was like totally independent, because, I am on a European study abroad program, and I do have like help from my family to be able to have these experiences, which I'm incredibly grateful for, and I know that I'm lucky to have. But it was cool that I could do this part of just taking myself from point A to point B all alone. So that was one of the highlights of my trip. I was in the Alps for like 3 days, 3 nights, 4 days. And it was basically just me kind of taking myself on a little like full weekend date where I kind of like caught up with myself and thought about all the ways that I've been changing since I got here and kind of like the strengths I've gained and just like the clarity and the mental health that I've found that I want to take home with me now. I might talk a little bit more about this at a different point. Actually, for my seminar class with our program directors that my group came here with, we had to do like travel narrative, and obviously, like, not obviously, in this circumstance, I got super stuck because I just have a hard time like diving in with creative things when I'm not sure what I could do, because it could have been anything, like writing, music, drawing, anything, and I had a super hard time figuring out how I was going to like record my experiences. But I ended up making something that was kind of a little graphic novel, which I would really, really kind of like to share, but I'm still not sure how I'm going to do that because it's still in pencil, which I kind of like, honestly. But I usually like post things that I ink in, and it also has some like lyrics and imagery that aren't, or like some like symbolism that I drew from other inspirations, and so I'm not sure about like the logistics of being able to share that because I didn't create everything completely independently. You know? I mean, I don't know, whatever. But anyways, it's like a little 24-page graphic novel about some of these really important moments for me that were important. I'm just repeating myself. I'm sorry. That were significant in how I like kind of took this journey with myself and what I was able to like find that I was looking for. And a big thing that I was looking for when I came here was healing, like both mentally and physically, because for like quite a few years I've been kind of just going, and I never really stopped to get better from some of the things that I went through. So, you know, these past 4 months, the past year really, as I've been like planning for this and being intentional about it, I've been focusing on like what I need to feel good, feel better again, and I just had this moment of clarity when I was on a plane listening to the Steven Universe movie soundtrack, and I realized that like I got here, dude. Like I'm not gonna be perfect. I don't think anyone can be, but I think that like when I distill it all into one generalization, I have healed, which is awesome because I kind of didn't even for a while realize that like I could feel better. But now I do. Like I got here, I did it. I'm finally in the future and not in the past. And I'm not like afraid of everything anymore. I was able to kind of look at the things that I was afraid of, and instead of thinking about them as fears, things I didn't want to happen, look inside those and look at like the wants. So instead of saying, I'm afraid of this happening, now I think instead, this is what I want. And now I can like trust myself to chase after those things and do things to like protect myself and keep myself healthy, and just generally be kind to myself. And I'm not letting bad things happen to me anymore without resisting, whether that be like stress or being overworked or just like letting people be mean to me. It's almost like I can visualize me as another person, and I can like look at her and I can think, yeah, like she's got my back and I've got her back, and we're gonna be just fine. And that's what that, I haven't written it down yet actually in this frame, but that little cursive writing to the side of the speech bubble and above the girl's head is all about. That's what that is. Yeah, so that's a little piece of my journey. I hope I can share more with you at some point. But, oh yeah, bullet journal stuff. So, a side effect of everything that has been going on, both positive and then the negative stuff that happened right after I got back from my fall break trip, I have not been caught up in my journal since October, since the day that we left for Paris. I'm still not caught up. So, my December setup is 1 page. Yeah, 1 page. I don't have a books to read thing now that I think about it, but I think that that's okay because honestly, lately reading hasn't really been doing it for me. Like, I mean, I think I've talked about this, but like I've just been kind of like disillusioned by how homogenous a lot of the books I read are, and I'm trying to figure out like more stuff I can read, but in the meantime, I don't want to keep reading the same thing over and over again and being depressed about how all these books that I keep picking up are like super predictable and the same and whatever. So it's a little bit okay with me that the reading list fell by the wayside this month. I think going home will be good though. I'm excited to set up a new notebook for this year. I don't know yet what I'm going to use. It might be a grid if I can find the right one, or if a certain something like pans out that I'm working on. Yeah. We'll see. Oh, also, these things that I've been cutting out, those are my new stickers, and hopefully by the time that this video is up, they will be available on my reopened Etsy shop, so look out for those. You won't have to cut them out. I'll have cut them for you. I just don't have access to my like sticker machine here in France, so I printed them on regular paper. Yeah, this is the last view of the French Riviera before I head back to Minnesota. Hope you enjoy it. I know that I really did. Bye.